Welcome along to round number 7 and 8 here of the TGP2 season. More Wednesday night drama coming to you live here from the United States, and of course a trip across the Atlantic back to our home event, the British Grand Prix, but it's Britain short. So of course, like in TGP2 all season long, we're getting all sorts of different little twists and turns along the way. Of course, we had a wet race at Abu Dhabi, and now we've got a little bit of Britain short, which will take place in 50%. But before that, 25% qualifying session, the traditional stuff, United States, the opening round tonight. And as always, Ginger Andy here, joined by Dan the Man with those wonderful Scouse tones. Dan, how you doing?
I'm good, Andy. It's nice to hear you again. Hope you're doing all right. Yeah. Tonight we've got two really good races on both sides of the Atlantic, of course. Yeah, United States, and then Great Britain short, where we should see we definitely will see actually the quickest ever TGP pole lap, whether it's wet or dry. Should be around 45 seconds, hopefully.
Well, there you go, the co-commentator getting the stats in nice and early there. I love that, Dan. So we're going to get a fastest ever TGP2 lap. Dan on the ball, as always, is Dom Smith. Then let's take a look at him at the minute, running in third position and attacking that first sector. And, you know, it's quite an interesting track, this one, Dan. I mean, you know, they always talk about the Herman Tilke racetracks now. They all lack a bit of character. Some of them are a bit dull, a bit boring, but to be fair to him, this is probably one of his better ones, if not the best one. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. I would probably agree with that. Yeah, it's got a lot of interesting corners, hasn't it? A lot of unique corners. I'm not a big fan of the final sector. I think it's a bit too technical maybe for me. This part that Dom's approaching now, after this left-hander, is where a part of the track that I really do not like at all and just can never seem to get right. Dom's approaching now, and look at this, he's half a second up so far on this lap. This is the bit that I just cannot get a grip of ever, really, but that looks like a decent enough line from Dom, who's on his pad once again tonight.
Yeah, he's back on the pad, and he's looking pretty good here. Very, very strong through the first sector in the middle part. Let's see what he's going to do then as he comes round towards the final couple of corners. A 1:31.950 from Parsa is the quickest time so far. He's the only man in the 1:31s. Let's see if Dom Smith can drop himself into that bracket. Very nearly does. He moves up onto the front row with a 32.0, just a tenth shy of that time from Parsa. So a very good effort there from Dom Smith. Let's shuffle down and pick up Baza, who's out there. I think he's either invalidated or about to start a lap. Let's keep an eye on him. But Dan, just a quick thing on what you were saying there. You're not a fan of that technical section at the end of that long straight. I actually like it, not to drive, but I think it really does produce great racing. You know, you can go side by side down the straight, and then you can duck and dive through the next couple of corners. So from that point of view, it does provide good action. Don't you agree?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, there's a few lines you can take from around there, isn't there? And it can provide a lot of nice little spots for an overtake. But certainly when you're on the one lap pace, it can always be well, certainly for me, it can be difficult to get right. Just seeing Jacko has gone up into third place, which is a good lap for him. Chris Johnson is about to set a lap. He's at the very back. He invalidated before. He's also disconnected from the session. The championship leader having a few problems early on with their reliability, I suppose you could say.
Yeah, we'll talk about the championship standings in full in a few moments as Chris Johnson goes purple through that first sector and looking very, very strong, and ominous signs for his rivals. But, you know, back onto the topic of the track, I mean, Herman Tilke, it's almost as if he's taken stuff from all the classic tracks around here, hasn't he? He's taken turn one a little bit like Austria. I know it goes left instead of right, but it's that uphill climb. He's got the Maggots-Beckett section at the end of the first sector, doesn't he? And then it's almost like a reverse turn 8 at Turkey, isn't it? As you go into that third sector. So he's got a few little gems from around the calendar and stuck them in around this track, and it has provided one of his best. And, you know, it's got that, you know, elevation change about it as well that always adds a challenge and excitement too.
It does indeed, yeah. And of course it's also in America, which is exactly what the place that Formula One's really trying to push at the moment, isn't it? And become more popular, and they've got probably one of the best tracks on the calendar, and certainly, as you say, one of the best Tilke tracks on the calendar, as Chris Johnson goes a little bit wide there through the penultimate corner. That's not going to be good for him.
Let's see what he can do then as he heads to the line. The championship leader moves up into the top four. A 1:32.3, his first time in the session. Things did not go to plan, having disconnected from the session, but he's now back and moving into the top four with that first effort. Magic Pupcan started another lap, but while he starts it, let's have a look then at those championship standings then. It's Chris Johnson that leads the way on 103 points. He has a reasonable cushion over Magic Poop Cannon in second on 89. F1 Baza just 2 points further back from him on 87. Then outside the top three, a little gap back, Cena on 66, Parsa on 53. Sair Sports is 6th on 48, Mr. John is next on 46. Alex Zaffro on 42 with Alex Coates on 35, and Blair Grills rounds out the top 10 on 31. The following 5 drivers, Blair Grills, Dom Smith, Indecisive, Tom Penguin, Angel vs Dev and Blown Wheelnut, are separated by just 6 points. So outside the top 10, very, very close. But Chris Johnson opening out a little gap at the front of the standings, isn't he?
He is indeed, yeah, but they managed to call them in a little bit last time round at Japan after Chris Johnson spun on the first lap at the first corner. So he had to fight his way back through the field, and Magic Poop kind of won that race. So he did close in a little bit more on the championship, as Magic Poop Cannon has actually come around the final couple of corners now, and he's about to complete his lap. I saw he was half a second up on his previous attempt, so this could be good for pole.
Let's see then, Magic Poop Cannon heading for the line. Is it pole? It is indeed, by 1/10 of a second. He moves ahead of Parsa, and Magic Poop Cannon, the man second in the standings with a late claim, and that's going to be the target. It looks like he's slowed right down, so I think that's going to be it from him. I don't think he'll get back round and go again unless he's going to charge the battery and maybe go for another lap. We'll have to wait and see, but it's a 1:31.8 to challenge. Parsa's out there on an out lap, getting ready to start a quick one, I think. Either that or he's bailed out of that current one. Dom Smith is on an out lap, Jacko on an out lap. Who have we got on a quick lap at the minute? Don't think there's many. Let's go outside the top 10 and maybe pick someone up. Who can you see, Dan? Anyone?
I can't actually see anyone at the minute who seems to be on towards the end of a lap, certainly at this stage. Sair Sports has just gone past the first sector. Oh, he's invalidated his lap, Sair Sports, so he won't be improving either. Neljak was also invalidated, so we're getting a lot of invalidations at this stage. It is an easy track, I have to say, to have an invalidation on. Blair Grills still hasn't got a lap in yet. I wonder if that's because of invalidations as well. Usually he's up there, certainly in the top 10 of the field, but well, is this going to be the night that a Red Bull finally wins a race, one of Parsa or Cena? Cena once again spun out of the lead in Japan, and then of course in Bahrain short, Parsa spun out of the lead. It's unbelievable that neither of these two have won a race yet. Surely it has to happen eventually.
Yeah, you would think so. I mean, it's going to come soon, isn't it? I mean, interestingly, Parsa, by the way, he came round that final corner there and he's continued on another slow lap. He crossed the line, didn't go slowly into turn one, it didn't go quickly into turn one, so it wasn't as if he's invalidated at some point. So we'll have to wait and see. Oh, what are you seeing, Dan?
So I think they're trying to give him the toe. I think Parsa's going to try and give Cena the toe, but Cena just had a massive swap it on as he was completing. I think it's turn 8 or turn 7, turn 8. So here we go. Look, and there we go. This is the toe. They were doing this in Spa, and this is what helped Parsa get the pole position in Spa. But I don't think Cena had the best first sector on that lap, so it may not work this time round, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't think it was
see what the second sector is.
I don't think it was the best toe either. I think Parsa was a bit late getting the throttle down, and I think he only really got the benefit for half the straight. He's 4 times down on his previous best, so I don't think this is going to be too good for Cena then. So let's see if we can shuffle up and see anyone else.
And Dom's off, so Dom will be improving, or Jacko.
Okay, so they're all dropping like flies, and Magic Poop Cannon sitting in the pits with a cup of tea watching the remainder of the session, and he'll be enjoying this because as things stand, he is still the quickest man out there. So Parsa then coming around the final corner, and he is coming in, as is Cena, so they've not got... Parsa has gone straight into the barrier at the entrance to the pit lane, so his session is done. It was done anyway. Dom Smith going slowly. So are we finding ourselves in a situation similar to what we saw back in Australia in the opening race, where everyone doesn't improve at the end of the laps, a bit like what happened in Portugal at the weekend?
I think it's the two Mercedes to watch. You've got Baza just completing the first sector, Chris Johnson just starts his final lap as well. It's all going to be on the Mercedes, I think, at this stage. Blair Grills isn't on a lap, he's invalidated. And we've got a few others further down the field. We've got Alex Afro coming around the final corner, see where he can improve.
Yeah, let's see what he can do then round the final corner. That looked quite tidy round the final corner. This is looking like a really good lap. It's pole position! It's pole position for Alex Zaffro here at the end of the session by 0.3 of a second. The Renault has jumped up into the pole position. Where has that came from? From Alex Zaffro. Sensational stuff from the Renault driver. Can he be denied though? We've got Baza out there and he's finding 0.6 on his previous best. He's quick on the lap at the minute, but he needs to go some in the final sector, and he wants to deny Alex Zafro pole position. Don't forget, Chris Johnson is still out there, as is Sir Tom Penguin, but Alex Zafro has put his car onto pole position by 0.3 of a second. That is incredible. Here comes Bazza then round the final corner. Doesn't look like he's going to deny him. He can't. He only goes fourth, and it's looking very, very good at the minute for Alex Zafro for the first potential pole position. Tom Penguin has bailed out his lap. The only man that can stop him now is Chris Johnson, and I don't think he's got the pace to do it. So, can Chris Johnson, the championship leader, deny Alex Zafro his first TGP2 pole? To the line comes Chris Johnson. No, he can't. He's out by a 10th, and Alex Zafro takes his first TGP2 pole. What an effort, what a story, what a shock we have here, Dan.
Brilliant stuff, isn't it? Where did that come from? Just suddenly cut some final sector of the lap, final couple of corners, and you said it looked really tidy. He was heading through the final corner, and it would have been a completely tidy lap all the way round. First pole position in TGP2. What a lap, 131.5, just ahead of Chris Johnson.
Wow, that is a fantastic story. Well done to the Renault man, Alex Zafro, by a fraction, with the lap of his life at the end of the session, takes the pole position for Renault. What a performance that is. Not even a 10th. I said it was a 10th. It's a quarter of a 10th. He has beaten Chris Johnson, the championship leader, by. Hats off to Chris Johnson, by the way. Only 2 runs he got in the end, come the end of the session, having disconnected right at the start. But what an effort that is from Alex Zafro. His first pole position in TGP. Can he go on and make it a first win? What a performance. Chris Johnson lines up second. Magic Poop Cannon lines up from third, having left his lap very early on and watched from the pits. The remainder doesn't even end up on the front row. Officially, Parsa, he is fourth, with Bazza lining up fifth, the Welshman. Dom Smith, the Manxman, is sixth, with Jacko lining up in seventh. Blair Grills is eighth, Cena is ninth, and Sir Tom Penguin bookends the top 10 for Renault. One at the top, one at the bottom of the top 10. Mick Schumacher 11th, Singer Sports is 12th, Angel versus Def is 13th, Neil Jack 14th, Blowing Wheel Nut, Indecisive, Mr. John, Stereogram, Breezer, and M-Shep completing the grid. But what an end to qualifying, and what a lap from Alex Zafro, Dan. You've got to say, he has slowly been threatening a strong performance. You know, they've been building. They were 4, 5, 6 seconds off at the start of last season. They got quicker and quicker. Tom Penguin got the podium. Zafro was getting higher up in the midfield, towards the front of the midfield, potentially challenging for podiums himself, and bang, here we are. He's on the front row, he's on pole position. I don't think we expected this soon from him, though, did we, Dan?
Not necessarily. No, certainly not a pole position, I have to say. But I mean, you're right, doesn't it? It does show the rate of improvement over the past season for both the Renaults and certainly for Alex Zafro in that session. It's fantastic stuff for him. A brilliant pole position. In terms of the championship, Chris Johnson will probably be quite pleased. Ultimately, he's in second, and his championship, he's ahead of both of his big championship contenders at the moment in the form of Bazard and Magic Poop Cannon. But Magic Poop Cannon will be right by him in third place at the start of the race. But Chris Johnson still hasn't had the pole position, amazingly, this season, and leads the championship though. But let's see what Alex Zafro can do here, especially from the front on the first lap.
Yeah, what an opportunity it is for him here in the United States to lead from pole position. And, you know, he's never had the chance, as you say, from pole position. He's never had the chance to lead from the front and show what he can do. He's not going to have to worry about others as long as he can keep it tidy through that first corner, get off the line as he likes. But the problem with that first corner, Dan, is it's very open to attack, isn't it? You can really send one up the inside. And if you're not covering that inside line, there's a good chance you're going to get forced wide. And I remember back in 2015 in real life, Hamilton-Rosberg down there. Rosberg squeezed out by Hamilton. Whether he meant it or not with the weather conditions, it's hard to tell. But it is that kind of corner where if you're not over to the left quickly enough, it can cause problems. But here come the lights then, and the 5 red lights are coming on, and we are about to go for a formation lap, is it? Or are we going underway? We're going underway straight away. Alex Zafro then leads away from pole position. He's got a poor start though, and Chris Johnson, the championship leader, pulls alongside immediately, and he's gone into the back of him. Alex Zafro has damaged the wing, and all that fine work we've seen from him in qualifying has been undone already. and he's dropped all the way to third place. It's now Chris Johnson leading the way from Magic Poop Cannon in second, and Zafro drops to third, and he'll be dropping further down the order with that wing damage. It's all gone wrong for the shock pole sitter almost immediately here. And look at that Parsa all over the back of him, looking to try and get through. So many cars queuing up behind, trying to find the move. But apart from that, I think it was relatively clean behind that, Dan.
So a nightmare then, yeah, for Alex Zafro and Parsa as well, who I think went into the back of Alex Zafro, and Alex Zafro then went into the back of Chris Johnson, and it's allowed Chris Johnson and Magic Poop Cannon to pull right away from the rest of them at the moment. They are 1-2, and is Magic Poop Cannon going to go for a move here?
Oh, it looked like he was going to think about it, but he decides, no, I'll stay where I am. By the way, Alex Zafro's got back ahead of Parsa into the braking zone. Parsa trying to hold it round the outside. He can't do that. And Zafro regains his ground and regains third place. So often when you lose a place or two at the start, you find yourself going further and further backwards through the order, but not the case here for Zafro. He's managed to steady the ship. We had a yellow flag down towards the rear of the field. Not too sure what it was, as Parsa misses his braking point ever so slightly, and that allows Baza to get onto his tail, but he's not quite close enough. He's a little bit out of shape, Baza, but Jacko not close enough to make an attack, Dan.
Oh, Mick Schumacher's lost it. Marco, he had a brilliant start. He was up to 6th place at one stage there, Marco, and now he has lost the car. And look at that, Alex Zafro and Parsa both having to pit.
They're both in the pits as Magic Poop Cannon pulls alongside into turn 1 on Chris Johnson. Is he going to take the lead away at the start of lap 2? It looks like it. Chris Johnson was going for the switchback, but Magic Poop Cannon parked his car well and holds on and takes the lead at the start of lap 2. He wasn't on the front row, but he's now up into the lead of the race. A real disaster for Parsa and Zafro at the start. They're all the way down to the rear of the field, and it's now for the top 2 in the championship, the top 3 in the championship, to debate the top 3 places.
It is indeed, yeah, but look at the gap already. It's 3.7 seconds from Baza to Chris Johnson at this stage. Those two have pulled right away at this stage. Dom is in 5th, does have a penalty though. Neljack's up to 9th, also has a penalty, but he's made 5 places, as Indecisive gets a penalty now as well. So Zafro and Parsa have both got on the medium tyres, and I'm guessing they're just going to try and run to the end on them.
Yeah, they've got no choice now. The race has been ruined as Dom Smith with that time penalty lines up a move on Jacko, and he breezes past and he gets that move done. Behind that, you've got Cena under pressure from Sayer Sports. Let's see if Sayer Sports is going to go from a move as we look from the rear wing. Cena into the back of Jacko, who then careers into the back of Dom, and that's wing damage for all 3 drivers. What a disaster. Cena missing the braking point, damages his own wing, and now Dom Smith's round again against the side of Neil Jacko. Blue Wheels, one of the 2 McLarens, and he's going back even further. What a chaotic start to this race, but Cena damaged his wing running into the back of Jacko. Jacko then damaged his wing into the back of Dom, and when Dom spun round, he damaged his wing when he slid into the side of Jacko. Unbelievable goings on there, and a real coming together that's ruined all 3 of the races. Silly from the Red Bull of Cena there.
Front wings are certainly in order, aren't they, right now in the United States, as we've got Dom then in the pits and Cena also pitting because of that. And Jacko did not pit though, so has Jacko got damage? I don't think Jacko's got damage actually.
Has he got away with it? Okay, maybe he has then. My apologies, I thought he maybe picked up damage in there too, but he has seemingly got away without any trouble, and that's a bonus for him. That promotes Sayer Sports now up into 5th position as a result of 2 McLarens swarming in the background, but a really messy start for some of the drivers that were maybe hoping to upset the apple cart this afternoon, the likes of Dom Smith, the likes of Parsa, Alex Zafro, and of course the other Red Bull of Cena, but it's not gone to plan at all, and they find themselves well outside the points and trying to make a recovery drive. But let's keep an eye on Sayer Sports. He's behind Jacko and we're looking to try and line him up for a move. As looks like Moss, Magic Poop Cannon out front, is really starting to stretch that gap. Looks like he's got the paces. Sayer Sports gains on Jacko, but he won't gain quickly enough to make that move into the braking zone, and on lap 3 he stays in P5.
This is pretty awful as well for Red Bull in the constructors. They are 2nd place right now, but they've got the likes of Alfa Romeo right on the tail, and with Magic Poop Cannon in the lead, you have to say could easily be in 2nd place by the end of this race in the constructors. Mercedes, of course, it's brilliant for them. 2 championship contenders, and they're running 2nd and 3rd. It's looking pretty decent at the moment, although Baza does have that 3-second penalty at this stage, and it's going to be interesting to see where the likes of Parsa and Alex Zafro and Dom and Cena sort of filter through the field once the pit stops have been made. It looks like we've got another yellow flag out. Not sure why, but we'll all go again.
Yeah, here comes Sayer Sports closing in on the back of Jacko into turn 1. Is he going to go for it? He thought about it, but Jacko's gone a little bit wide, almost scared out the way there perhaps. by CR Sports, looking too much in his mirrors. So now going to go side by side down the hill. Look at this, the Ferrari and the Racing Point racing down the hill, and it's CR Sports who gets his nose just in front of Jacko. Great racing there between the pair, and CR Sports in the Ferrari gets the better of the Racing Point. The Pink Panther yields to the prancing horse. Great racing, Dan.
Brilliant stuff from two legacy drivers, I suppose, veteran drivers of TGP. And look at Neljak as well right behind. He started way down as well, and he has got right through the field ahead of his teammates as well at this stage. Blake goes right behind them though. But yeah, nice move by CR Sports, who had to miss last week, back this week though, and is already putting the moves in. In fact, I think this is where CR Sports won his first TGP1 race. Yeah,
absolutely. He's having a great afternoon, and look at this, Jackal thinking about coming back then as the two McLarens swarm in, enjoying the tussle for fourth place in this race. It could become third if they can get within 3 seconds of Baza, but the more they tussle, it won't be very likely that they will get within range. Jackal goes with it. Oh, that was naughty, but he went for it and nearly made it pay off as they now go around the outside of the reverse turn 8 at Turkey, and it looks like CR Sports is going to have the advantage, but goodness me, he had to have his wits about him there as Jackal had a little slither up the inside, but there was no more he could do to get through on CR Sports, who was wise to that one as they come round the final corner. DRS open now for Jackal. Can he have a look at Joe Sayer into turn 1? He thinks about going left, going right, goes down the inside into the braking zone. They climb up the hill. Is he ahead? Joe Sayer braking that little bit later. And we watch from the rear from Neljak and CR Sports and Jackal side by side once again. A lap later, who's going to come out on top this time? It's going to be close, very close, but this time it's Jackal that comes out on top. It's 1 round to the Panther, 1 round to the prancing horse, and it's Jackal who retakes 4th place. Awesome stuff.
Unbelievable. It's like the same thing, but just in a repeat, but in reverse, wasn't it? But number 2 McLarens have once again just been sat there watching these two have the fight, and Neljak got very close to CR Sports there at the end of the first sector, but can't make any inroads just yet. Although he will have DRS down here, so will CR Sports. At the front, Chris Johnson's closed in slightly on Magic Buchanan. He's just fractionally within DRS, but again, I think that's probably going to come down to strategy in the pit stops.
Oh, here we go. Here we go, Jackal again, battling with CR Sports. CR Sports down the inside. Is he through? He is through. And the DRS worked his magic there, and Joe Sayer's back through. Not quite as spectacular as what we've been seeing previously, but he's back through. And it's 2-1 to the prancing horse.
Of course, that has now extended the gap, though, hasn't it, to Baza, so with penalty. So it's looking good for Baza in terms of not losing a place at this stage, you have to say. He'll be quite happy about that, as once again, the guys at the front stay out as they start lap 6. Must be getting close to pit stops now. Baza does come in. Baza decides to come in early then, and we'll see if either of these two come in, Sayer or Jacko. No, they do not. Neljak doesn't, but Blake Hills does.
Okay, so an undercut attempt there from one of the McLarens to try and get ahead in the battle for what will be 4th place as Baza makes that pit stop and moves on to those medium compound tyres. I saw that Alex Zaffro and Parsa were quite close together, the two recovering drivers. Let's see, they're fighting down in 14th and 15th place though, and Parsa thinking about a move up the inside into the final corner. He's going to try it. Zaffro goes a little bit wide, and through goes Parsa up into 14th place, but here comes Zaffro rejoining the racetrack. Slips into the slipstream. He's got no ERS. Parsa's got the DRS, and that's always going to be a difficult move to try and make. And Parsa's up into 14th place.
And Baza and Blake Girls are both out way ahead of the likes of Parsa and Alex Afro, which really shows how much that cost them with that instance at the start. Chris Johnson is closing in on Magic Buchanan. I think they're going to reach the end of the straight though before he can go for a move. They are going to be so close. Oh wow, so close as they head for the pit stops here.
Yeah, very close. It's almost as if Chris Johnson's been told, right, hammer time, Chris. Time to put the foot down, lower the gap, and then we'll try the undercut on Magic Buchanan. The man from Estonia, who hails from Tallinn, but lives, of course, over in the USA in New York. Let's see who will come out on top between the pair. Will Chris Johnson go for the undercut? Will Magic Buchanan cover any potential undercut? Let's see then, round the final corner, Magic Buchanan does pit, as does Chris Johnson. And it's going to be a race in the pits between the mechanics. Is it going to be Alfa Romeo? Is it going to be Mercedes? Who's going to come out on top in the pit stops? That's why they practice them so much during winter testing, so much on Thursdays and Fridays. Onto the box goes Chris Johnson, on go the medium compound tyres, and away he goes. Where is he going to be in relation to Magic Buchanan? We're waiting and waiting and waiting. Where is Buchanan? He's in front, and Chris Johnson, his effort in the pits wasn't enough from his team, and he remains behind him as things stand. Wow.
And just see where Magic Buchanan's going to come out here, because he's got Blown Wheel Nut right on him, and the Blown Wheel Nut goes through. And, well, it's going to be a bit awkward, isn't it?
Yeah, it was almost one of those ones where Blown Wheel Nut didn't know whether to go past his teammate or not, because that would have been an ideal opportunity for Blown Wheel Nut to sandwich in between the pair, wouldn't it, to help his teammate out, but none of that whatsoever. He just shoved his teammate inside out and said, I don't care if you're fighting for the lead, you're on cold tyres, I'm flying past you, and Blown Wheel Nut does that, but he should now get the favour of the DRS Magic Buchanan to defend from the charging Chris Johnson. Let's see how it works out into the braking zone. Blown Wheel Nut riding his own race, and as he should do, it's esports of course, they're not paid by teams, it's only a game at the end of the day, and he's just thinking about his own race, not about his teammates. And here comes Magic Buchanan, he's gaining, and Blown Wheel Nut's defending to the inside, and here we go, round the outside goes Buchanan. He needs to be careful, and he should get that move done. He is through and ahead now of Blown Wheel Nut, and that's a crucial move because Chris Johnson is catching Wheel Nut in an area of the track where it's difficult to overtake, so a chance for Buchanan to open the gap.
Yeah, exactly. Chris Johnson knows, and he needs to get this move done immediately now and try and get his way through. As Mr. John, it's Alex Zafra going side by side there. Mr. John gets round and gets the position done. At the front, Say Sports finally comes in, then Jacko stays out again, goes again on the soft tyres. Yeah,
so interesting to see that. Jacko going very, very long with a really obscure strategy. Into the pits comes Blown Wheel Nut, and that's a relief for Chris Johnson. Has the damage been done though? What is the gap as they come across the line between he and Buchanan? We'll wait as all the arrows on the screen on the left-hand side with the various pit stops shuffle out the way. 1.1 the gap between Buchanan and Chris. He has lost time, he's out with the DRS, but that's not too much work to do to get back in. In fact, he's already back in at 9/10. Let's see if he'll be there because of the dirty air at the end of this first sector though.
And Blair Gills, it looks like he's made the undercut work on Neljak, his teammate, so he's ahead of Neljak. Say Sports, though, he cannot get ahead of, and we'll have to see where Jacko fits in once he makes his pit stop in a lap's time. As Chris Johnson, look, he's closing in again on Magic Buchanan here.
Yeah, it's all happening. Plenty of action all around the racetrack at the minute. Good to see the race set up nicely with plenty of little dynamics, little battles going on. We've got Alex Zafro on the fringes of the points as well, thinking about maybe getting a move on Mr. John. We'll go to that in a minute as we keep an eye on Chris Johnson, who's got that battery charged up and he's using some of it up to gain and gain. He's not using it anymore though. I think if he'd used it all the way, he'd probably got past Magic Buchanan. He's gaining, he's going for it though. Down the inside goes Chris Johnson, trying to take the lead away from Buchanan, and he shoves him wide and puts some manners on the Estonian and takes the lead on lap 8 out of 14. It's almost as if, Dan, Magic Buchanan was surprised that he came for the move so late.
Yeah, it was a lovely move, wasn't it? And it was fairly simple, but I mean, I feel like he could have made it even easier if he used a bit more overtake, but in the end, he didn't need it. And now he can use the overtake a bit more to pull away from Magic Buchanan, and that's a huge move, of course, for the championship as well, as we've got a safety car.
Oh, wow, we've got a shit. That's going to help Jacko if he's in the pits. Jacko is in the pits. This is going to be huge for the Racing Point driver. What a help this is going to give him. He's going to be at least on the podium here, I would think. He might even jump Baza. Let's see, he's not going to jump Baza, but he will be after the stops, because Baza, of course, has a time penalty. So when they all bunch up, he's going to be net third.
And Neljak's been given a drive-through for speed, and is Jacko going to jump Say Sports? They've been close together all race, and he does indeed, yes he does.
What a result that is for Jacko as M-Shep retires. It brings out the safety car on lap 9 out of 14, and this sets us up for an astonishing finale here. We're going to have a few laps, 2 laps, maybe 3 laps shootout, with Jacko on the freshest tyres of everyone. Wow.
Yeah, so Jacko's going long on the soft tyres. The safety car has worked absolutely perfectly for him. As you say, the Baza penalty's gone as well for him, so Jacko will be right there now with that as well.
And we've got Blown Wheel Nut on fresh softs as well. So that's going to be a big help to him in 9th place. Strangely, did someone not tell Angel versus Death the weather forecast today? Because he is on the intermediate. I'm sorry. What? What are you doing, sir? What are you doing?
I'm not sure what that is all about. It's amazing he hasn't spun yet, which I'm quite amazed about as he goes through the S's here.
I mean, is this so he doesn't have to use both dry compounds? But I mean, surely you just pit and then pit a lap later. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
I have no, I cannot understand that. I imagine it'll be fun to hear him in the post-race interviews. I'm sure I'll have an explanation for it. But anyway, at the front, we're going to have one more lap of safety car, aren't we? And we'll see if Magic Buchanan can fight back with Chris Johnson, so to prevent Chris Johnson from extending his championship lead, of course.
Yeah, let's talk about that move again then, Dan. I mean, you're right, it did seem like Chris, could have made it easier for himself, could have used that little bit more overtake. It was almost as if he got there. It was almost as if initially in his head he thought, no, I'm not going to make the move here, I'm just going to charge the battery and wait. And then he got there and thought, I'm actually going to just make it because I can. And then it's almost as if Magic Poop Cannon thought, no, he's not going to make it because he's charged the battery. And then he just went for it, and then it was almost as if they both got there and thought, oh, what a surprise. And they just met in the middle.
Yeah, I think Magic Poop Cannon was definitely caught by surprise, wasn't he? And just had to just give him the position, I suppose, in the end. And must be pretty frustrated with himself that he let that happen so easily, I imagine. Yeah,
absolutely. I don't think he'll be too pleased, but I suppose he's got a chance to charge the battery. Of course, Chris does as well, so we'll see how it pans out between them. But we're going to have a few laps of racing here to decide the winner. And will Baza try to get involved? He will surely try and put some pressure on. He'll want those guys in front to get penalties because they are his direct championship rivals. So
exactly.
We'll see what Baza's got up his sleeve. He is on slightly older tyres as well. Jacko, though, he could be really one to watch. Whether he has the pace to match these guys, we'll wait and see. But he has got the freshest tyres and by quite some margin.
I just had a quick look there, Andy, and Magic Poop Cannon has no warnings. Chris Johnson has 2.
Wow.
So all it takes is one small error for Chris Johnson, one piece of track outside, one piece of driving outside track limits, and that will be a 3-second penalty for him, and it would, well, then you would assume, perhaps give Magic Poop Cannon the victory.
Yeah, not only with that, with the field now so tight, the penalties are so important at this stage of the race. So Chris Johnson cannot afford to get a time penalty at all, because he might even drop behind the likes of Jacko, the likes of Blair Grills, who themselves have yet to pick up a time penalty. And another driver that's yet to pick up a time penalty, Alex Zaffro. He's put the softs on, he's got rid of those old mediums that he had to come in for the pit stop on very early on. And without a time penalty, if he can just keep his nose clean and pick a few cars off on those fresh tyres, with everyone else in front of him having time penalties, this could still turn into a reasonable result for him, despite the opportunity he had prior to that with the pole position.
That's a really good shout, yeah, that is. And Alex Zaffro, who does struggle sometimes with track limits, as you say, yeah, if he can hold on to not get a penalty, he can have a big success in this race. But Neljak's got to come in for the drive-through as well, by the way, we should say. Should free up people from 8th behind. But we are focusing on this restart at the front, and what can Magic Poop Cannon do about Chris Johnson?
Yeah, we'll wait and see then. So Chris Johnson will start to control the speed. He's slowing them all down through that long turn 19, and we're about to see how things are going to pan out as they get going. Into the pits comes Bernd Mailander in his safety car. Chris Johnson controls the pack then. He'll decide when to go. We've seen Bottas leave it very late. Chris Johnson doesn't appear to be leaving it late at all. Straight out the final corner, and away we go for 3 laps of drama here in the United States at the Circuit of the Americas here in Austin, Texas. Who will come out on top? Will it be Chris Johnson? Will it be Magic Poop Cannon? And what about Baza and Jacko in behind that? Jacko's now picked up a time penalty out there somewhere. He didn't have one prior to that, I don't think. But let's see how it pans out as Magic Poop Cannon immediately goes in the offensive. You can see him really attacking the curves through there. Chris Johnson knows he has to be cautious on those because it could drop him down through the order if he gets a time penalty. Luckily for him, the majority of drivers behind him have got one as well, but not his main rival.
And now Jack's out the race, but Jacko got a penalty at the final corner on a safety car restart. He must have took too much of a line through there and went off the track, got a penalty for it. We've got another yellow flag out as Jacko runs wide. He might get overtaken here by Sayre Sports.
Yeah, he might, but look at Magic Poop Cannon. He's very, very, very close to a bit of move as Sayre Sports pulls alongside and passes Jacko down the straight. Magic Poop Cannon, is he close enough? No, he's not. I thought he was, for all the while he was going to be close enough. Jacko having a little look at the brakes. Blair Grill's in there quite deep as well, but it's looking good at the minute for Sayre Sports. He's up to 4th, 5th for Jacko, 6th for Blair Grills, and keep an eye on Blow and Wheel Nut on those fresh soft tyres, because he could be really moving up through the order here.
Absolutely. Jacko and Sayre Sports are still side by side almost there, as Sayre Sports still just about stays ahead, but because they've all got equal penalties now as well, so it's really game on between these guys.
Yeah, it really is. Game on for the final few places in the top 4 or 5, and of course game on at the front. But Chris Johnson has made an attempt to open that gap out a little bit, not quite up to a second, but 6/7 he'll be comfortable with. Any less than that and he won't. He sets the fastest lap of the race at 1:34.5 as we look from the rear wing of Sayre Sports backwards to Jacko and Blair Grills and Blow and Wheelnut, who are all trying to reel them in. The advantage is with Blair Grills, who's not got a penalty. The advantage also with Blow and Wheelnut, who's on soft tyres. Alex Zaffro, remember, we spoke about him before the restart. He's already up to 8th place, and he's homing in this group as well. So without a penalty, he could be threatening even as much as a podium if it all closes up in time.
Yeah, very true. Was Chris Johnson again, and imagine kind of got so close there through the end of the first sector. Oh, now Alex Zaffro sadly gets a penalty. That's a shame.
And that's killed it now. That's stone dead killed it. Any chance of a podium, but he could still get a strong result. We'll wait and see as Magic Poop Cannon tries to get close enough to a move on Chris Johnson on lap 12 out of 14. 7/10 the gap. It won't happen this time round. No way is it going to happen this time round. The gap is far too big. Let's have a look further down. We've got Blair Grills potentially going for an attack here on Jacko. Is he close enough? No, he's not. He stays put. Alex Zaffro gaining on this group. Here he is then on the fresh soft tyres. He and Blow and Wheel now all over that group like a rash. Desperate to try and move up into the top 4 or 5 places. Look at them. Alex Zaffro we're on board with in the minute, sawing at the wheel and down to the inside. Oh! Wow! Well,
that was unbelievable.
That was unbelievable. It was right on the limit of what you could call clean, but he'd done it, and Blair Grills had to jump out the way. And fair play to Alex Zaffro, who makes 2 moves in 1 corner. And I've got to say, that's part skill, but a big part of it was luck.
Perhaps, but I mean, I suppose he sort of just drifted through, didn't he? And he set the fastest lap as well for good measure. Unbelievable.
Absolutely unbelievable. Maybe I'm not giving him enough credit. Superb stuff from Alex Zaffro as Magic Poop Cannon gets to within 2/10 now of Chris Johnson out front. He really is beginning to turn the screw, is the Estonian. He's really starting to believe he can win this race and cut that gap down in the World Championship. He knows he needs to start making inroads, and he's going to try and do that, but he's in a really scrappy into that first sector, getting us a little bit slidey on the rear, a little bit of oversteer, and Chris Johnson now has opened that window out to the gap he needs of around 0.8 of a second to defend down the straight.
And Alex Zaffro was going for another position here, and he tried to go for Jacko, and it nearly worked, but in the end Jacko got back past, passes out the race, and Magic Poop Cannon's closing in. Chris Johnson can't make a move this time round, but I think, is Alex Zaffro going to go for Jacko? No, he can't.
Is he going to go for the double move on these two again down there? Let's see. I don't think he's close enough for the double. He might go for the single on Jacko, but you need to be wary with Jacko because Jacko's already tried that himself on Sayre Sports, so you might find them both going for the inside here. There goes Jacko, and he's going to get it.
Chris Johnson's had the wobble! The side by side, the front 2. Oh wow, Chris Johnson had to, Magic Poop had to back out of it through that reverse turkey turn 8. Chris Johnson had a massive wobble coming out the corner.
I don't know where to watch at the minute. It's action everywhere as Jacko has got himself ahead of Sayre Sports in amongst all this. It's absolutely wild stuff. Alex Zaffro then in there trying to get in front, but he's still in 6th position into turn 1. We need to go to the leaders, don't we? We really do need to stick with these leaders as Chris Johnson holds the lead. Sayre Sports into turn 1. Is he on the inside of Jacko? He is on the inside of Jacko. Is he through on Jacko for the 3rd time in this race? These two are going to go battling side by side down into turn 2 and 3, and Jacko has got the upper hand, but we need to go to the front because this is getting far too close for comfort.
Yeah, I was just watching those two go through the S's there, and Chris Johnson took, I have to say, a very, very risky line through there, and Magic Poop Cannon gets a penalty.
Wow, he's been pushing too hard, Magic Poop Cannon. Now he's got a time penalty, and Chris Johnson knows it. He just has to cruise home now, and it's in the bag. What a disaster! We've been robbed of a thrilling finale here between these drivers. Everyone in the field has a penalty except the race leader. And Chris Johnson, by the way, has saved up enough of his ERS to hold on here. I don't think Poop Cannon's going to get close enough. He's not. Even if he didn't get the penalty, he was never going to get there. Incredible.
Well, the guy who got 2 warnings in the first 2 laps, Chris Johnson, has managed to not get a warning for the rest of the race. And it looks like he's going to win it.
And now get Zaffro and Blair Grills side by side. Incredible stuff. Zaffro, who had been making a charge, is now under pressure. He's in 6th place, but he's got Blair Grills all over him, but he can't get through. But we need to go back to the front because it's all so close. Look at Poop Cannon. That's so close. He's round. I don't believe it. Poop Cannon went for the jugular. He's all gone wrong. He's off the track. He's down in 5th, 6th, 7th position. It's all gone wrong for him. He's throwing vital championship points away, and Chris Johnson can barely believe his luck. He wins here in the United States. It's now became a Mercedes 1-2, and Zaffro second.
Zaffro in second place.
Are you joking me? That's incredible. Incredible.
Yeah, all the guys in front of had penalties, I think, towards the end. Got extra set of penalties. And Alex Zaffro, who had pole and then was at the back after pitting at the end of first lap, ends up in second.
Well, that is the most wild finish to a race I think I've ever seen. Poop cannon spinning, and then what happened after that with the penalties? Unbelievable. We did say we knew that Zaffro had no penalties, and then he picked up one, but I didn't realise everyone else had so many, and he would still capitalise and finish the race in second. That is absolutely astonishing. Well, I bet you didn't think that in the first corner when he had his front wing hanging off and he was in 4th place.
Yeah, no way. You would say, look how close Blake Grills was as well to getting a podium off Bazza. So Bazza 3rd, Magic Buchanan 7th. I wonder if Magic Buchanan might want to go to Stewards about that, but if he does go to Stewards, I have to say, it was opportunistic at best, wasn't it, for Magic Buchanan to try and slide through there at that place. That's what almost happened on the previous lap, but Magic Buchanan backed out of it. That time around he didn't, and the collision, you have to say, was sort of inevitable, wasn't it, at that point?
Yeah.
And it has cost him a huge chunk of points.
Yeah, I think it was a bit silly, especially when you get the 3-second time penalty. You're not going to beat him anyway, so it was just a completely unnecessary risk, and to be honest, he got what he deserved for it. It was just silly, and in the end, he's surrendered a massive amount of points in the championship to Chris Johnson, who takes the victory here. And it's Alex Zaffro, after all of that, that ends up on the podium in second, splitting the Mercedes with Bazza in third. Look at the state of those time penalties. That is astonishing. Chris Johnson then wins the race for Mercedes, and as you said, Dan, 2 warnings in the first lap, and he's the only man out there that didn't get up a penalty. Spotless from then on. Alex Zaffro second, as we said. Bazza third. Blair Grills, you said it, Dan, so close. 3/4 of a tenth from getting Bazza and getting on the podium. Jacko, in the end, the penalties cost him that podium. He was third on the road, but not come the classification. Sayre Sports, he was 6th. Magic Poop Cannon, less said the better. He flung that away in 7th. Mr. John in 8th. Cena in 9th. A messy day for the Red Bull team. Sir Tom Penguin gets into the top 10 in 10th. Lone Wilmna, Dom Smith, Angel versus Death, Indecisive, Mick Schumacher, Breezer, Stereogram, and Parsa, Nell Jack, and M-Shep complete the field at the end of the race. Dan, your driver of the day from the United States Grand Prix.
Well, I suppose I'm almost tempted to say Alex Zaffro, because he managed to get all those positions at the end and didn't manage to avoid getting the penalties. Chris Johnson drove very well, didn't he? Especially after getting the 2 warnings at the start, and you have to say it was a fairly clean race after that. I enjoyed the battle as well between Jacko and Sayre Sports, but I'm going to give it to Alex Zaffro, considering he managed to fight back and get through in the end.
Yeah, well, okay, Alex Zaffro for you. You know, I want to give him it, but I feel like at the start it was a poor getaway, and then running into the back of Chris in the turn 1, I feel like that was, you know, poor.
Yeah, but didn't he get hit by Parser though? I think it looked like he got hit on my screen by Parser, I think, and then he went into Chris Johnson. I might be wrong, but that's.
Okay, this is how this is provisional then. If he was hit, I'm giving him it. If he wasn't hit, I'm giving it to Chris Johnson. We'll have to watch it back. We'll have to watch it back. But what a move as well from Alex Zaffro. Move of the race in there too.
Oh, definitely. That was unbelievable. Don't wait to watch that one back.
Move of the season, maybe? I mean...
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you look at those moves and you think, you know, is that really on? Is it really okay to do that with other drivers virtually jumping out of the way? But at the end of the day, there wasn't really much contact, if any at all. And I suppose you have to sit there and say, yeah, you took the risk, you took the gamble, but it paid off, and it paid off in spectacular fashion, because in the end, they finished second.
He did indeed, yeah, and I'm just having a quick look at the points situation at the moment with the drivers at the front. Bear with me 1 second. So I think we've got Chris Johnson now on 128 points, I believe, and then Bazza on 102, and Magic Buchanan on 97. I believe. He missed out on 10 points with that instance at the end.
It's a disaster, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's what I call poor race management, isn't it? It's poor race management, championship management from Moss or Magic Buchanan. There's no need for that. There's just absolutely no need whatsoever for that.
Yeah, he missed out on 10 points. Yeah, 10 points. That cost them that silly move at the end. Attempt at the move.
Yeah, and it was to gain nothing. It wasn't even to gain 7 because he had the penalty. So it was just so needless. And it's a big shame, a big error. But hopefully he'll learn from it, and he can get back in the championship hunt. Because, of course, Dan, we as neutrals want to see a tight championship battle. And,
of course.
I feel like we'd be robbed of it if he keeps making mistakes like that. But hopefully he doesn't. But now we're off to a really interesting one here, Dan, aren't we? Let's move on. The British Grand Prix short. And this is going to be interesting, isn't it? As you said at the top of the show, we're going to have the shortest ever qualifying pole position time in TGP history. And we're going to have a 50% distance race as well. So, as always, TGP2, second season, we try and mix it up a little bit on the game, don't we? And that's exactly what Dom's done. And what do you think of this one? How do you think it's going to pan out?
Well, put it this way, I'd certainly rather be here than Vietnam. That's for sure.
Yes.
But I mean, I can't wait for this. I think if you thought the last race was fantastic, I have a feeling this is really going to be something special because nobody really knows what could happen. To be honest, there's a 50% race around such a short lap with such a long pit lane as well. So it's sort of the offset with losing time in the pit lane is pretty huge. And then if we get a safety car at some stage as well, that could could throw everything up in the air. So yeah, I'm really, really cannot wait to see how this plays out and who's got the measure of this very short circuit, but still quite tricky. And we'll see who can get on pole. Like I said, probably expecting a mid-40s pole lap.
Yeah, well, we'll have to wait and see what we will get in terms of pole. But some cars going out on the racetrack. Now, I'm going to give you a little fact here, Dan. It might shock you. But back during lockdown last year, I was bored during my furlough period. And I was looking to chase world records. And I thought, what's the most obscure world record I could get on the Formula 1 game? So I loaded up Britain Short, put it on full wet, and hey presto, I held the world record, boasted about it on Twitter, and sure enough, having boasted on Twitter, it was a rookie error, and it was beaten within 10 minutes. So there you go, that's my claim to fame. You are listening to an expert around this racetrack, folks. Ginger Andy is a former world record holder around here.
Wow, that's impressive stuff, isn't it? I feel like I want to try and have a go at that now.
Oh, for God's sake, Dad, don't beat me as well.
I don't think I will. I just noticed Magic Buchanan just come straight in the pit lane again. He's missing a front wing, so I don't know what's happened to him on his outlap. But most of the drivers are already on the actual lap, such as the short length of this track.
And another thing that I've not thought about this track at all in race trim is the pit lane length compared to the length of the track. I mean, the pit stop time's nearly as long as it is to do a lap round here.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I could be wrong, but I tried to do a kind of working it out a bit earlier. I think it's probably going to be around about 30 seconds that you lose to the leader of your pit, and then the lap's going to be 45 seconds, 46 seconds. So you will almost be lapped when you make a pit stop.
Wow. Oh, I suppose the people at the back of the field, when they pit, they will be lapped, won't they? So
yeah,
I mean, and there's a chance that anyone who damages the wing on the opening lap, by the time they crawl back to the pits and change the wing, they will be lapped, almost guaranteed. Yeah. So the drivers will need to be keeping it clean and tidy into the first corner, because if they don't, they're going to get lapped. It's just incredible, isn't it?
Which is why, of course, if we get some sort of safety car or something like that, it could really throw things up in the air, because with lapped cars in the way and everything, you just don't really know what could happen in that kind of situation, which that's why we're here, that's why we're all watching it live.
Yeah, that's why we're going for this little bit of a twist in TGP. And at the minute, it's Sir Tom Penguin that's put the Renault quickest of all, with Stereogram just in front of him, and let's see if this is an opportunity to go even quicker then for Sir Tom Penguin. Let's see, he's out there pushing. That little bit of a toll from Stereogram might just help him. 44.6, the quickest, and Sayre Sports has retired as he crashed. He must have.
Yeah.
But let's see.
Just on the corner where you rejoin into down the Hanger Straight. I don't know how he managed that, but he's out the session.
Well, that's a shame for him. Now, I don't know for sure, right? Now, but that's a big move for Tom Penguin. He's off. He's way off. He's going to hit the wall. He's incredibly lucky. He just about pulls it all together. I was just about to say something about Sir Tom Penguin, but I'll hold it for now. In fact, I'll just say it. I was thinking, Dan. Now, I think Dom told me, I might be wrong, but he did tell me that he heard that back in Azerbaijan when Tom Penguin got that podium, that before the race, he heard that Tom Penguin was good round there, maybe put the practice in, and he was going to run well there. Do you think this is one of those obscure races where maybe he's thought, you know what, I'm going to put the practice in for this one because it's wild, and I might be able to be good at the front? Because the early signs are, with him at the top, that could be the case.
It's a good point, that, isn't it? Yeah, sometimes it can be those kind of tracks, isn't it? Like, you know, if I just do a bit more extra practice around here, this is one that people might not bother with, so I might be able to get up there a bit. Yeah, it's an interesting theory, and it could work, and he has just been beaten on that lap fractionally by Parser, but yeah, as you say, he's still there in second place at the moment, Dom a 10th behind him, but of course the times you would imagine are going to be incredibly close due to how short the track is.
Yep. Well, Alex Zaffro, by the way, has just been off the road big time. He's got himself back on the island though, and that's now both Renaults going off at turn 2 with the rear end sliding round, and well, I'm not surprised because you know, their upgrades have been halted. They have had a lack of funding, the Renault team, so towards the rear of that car, and that's because Dom Smith has had a pay rise down at Formula 1, so if you're wondering where the lack of funding is, the lack of upgrades at Renault, is because all the money has gone to Dom Smith with his pay rise. So how selfish of him, Dan.
It's all gone a bit McLaren Daniel Ricciardo down at Renault at the moment with pay, and other staff members unhappy, but anyway, yeah, let's see what happens in this race, and if he can prove that he's worth the pay rise.
Well, at the minute he's not, because he's behind Sir Tom Penguin in the standings.
Yeah, although Sir Tom's just left the session. Okay,
well, maybe he's away to amend the contract, who knows, but he's going to join back hopefully soon, Sir Tom Penguin. He's running second at the minute, but Parsa, by the way, has found 3/10 of a second on Tom Penguin at the top of the standings, and I've got to say, 3/10 is quite a lot on a 44-second lap, Dan.
Yeah, but he has done 5 laps on those soft tyres, so I'm not sure if you'd want to be doing that many laps, although, you know, this is a 50% race, it's going to be 26 laps, so the tyres, I suppose you have to run them a bit longer than usual, but it is a much shorter track, obviously, so ultimately there's no real massive difference. Just trying to watch Alex Zaffro here, goes a bit wide through there. I think he's struggling slightly at the moment. In fact, he's invalidated his lap through there. Yeah, he's invalidated the lap, so it's not going well for him at the minute. M. Shep starting the lap. Let's see, I was looking at Blown Wheel now. He was further up the order, so if the game would stop annoying me and we could maybe get to him. Where are we? Blown Wheel now. There we are. And he's starting a flying lap at the minute. Let's see how he gets on. Dan, we would usually do a little track guide, wouldn't we, in the second race, but I don't really think this is a track worth a track guide, is it? It's a bit Mickey Mouse. It's not on the Formula 1 calendar proper. We'll just see it as it goes. I think Dom's about to improve big time here. I think Dom could be about to put it in the front. No, he doesn't. He puts it second. 2/10 off Parser, who, as you say, really has set the early pace at this stage. Yeah, it's a proper benchmark. Blown Wheelnut was a half a tenth up on his previous best for the second sector. Might be enough to move him ahead of Baza, unless his final sector is really good. It might even move him further. It gets him into 6th position, which I think is where he was already, was it? And yeah, he's still in 6th position as a result. So Dom Smith, is he going again? He is going again. And he's green through the first sector. How's he looking come the end of the lap then? Dom Smith attacking hard as he tries to reel in that time from Parser. I was about to say 1:44.3. It's just a 44.3. Round the final corner then comes Dom Smith. This looks like it could be quickest. It is quickest. No, it's not. It's a fraction away. He's still down. I thought for all the while that was going to be pole position, Dom Smith, but nope. He's a half-tenth down on Parser, but the 44.3 is now the target, and it's all closing up. So it's quite obvious then that these tyres absolutely you can do 2 push laps around here quite comfortably.
And
In
with the
fact,
ERS.
yes, yeah, exactly, with the ERS as well. But just wondering, because traffic must be a bit of a problem as well in this quali session, I imagine, at some stage. Down to 19 drivers now, but the majority of them are out on track at this moment. 16 of them are out on track, all trying to find the way around the 45-second track. Sort of could prove a bit difficult for some drivers. Magic Buchanan goes into 3rd place.
Yeah, 44.4 then for Magic Buchanan, so that's a good effort from him to go forward.
Chris Johnson has just gone past the 2nd sector. He's up marginally on his time. He's down in 9th place though. He's got to improve. As you say, Chris Johnson still hasn't had a pole so far this season as that McLaren gets out the way. Chris Johnson, interestingly, by the way, has only won a maximum of 4 races in the TGP season, and he has won 4 already this season, and also they've all come on the first race of the night.
Well, interesting stats once again from Dan. Dan, I love how polished up you are on these stats. It's brilliant. As Chris Johnson goes 6th then on a 44.7, then blowing wheel now at 44.5 up into the top 4. So, you know, a couple of little surprises then around this track. So it's like, well, you know, as I said earlier on about drivers maybe doing a bit more practice around an obscure track. Lone Wheel Nut and Sir Tom Penguin early contenders for that, up in 5th and 6th. Not a position you usually associate them with, and they're both going quite well.
Yeah, absolutely. As just seeing what Parser can do here, he's just about to start a lap now. And he's 9.9 seconds first sector, and he was just about half a tenth off. That's just, obviously the sectors are so short around here, you can pretty much cut that curve through there, and that was a really good line through there as he rejoined onto the Hanger Straights, and he's up, look, 23.5, he's up on his lap here marginally, and if he can have a good run through Stowe, which is probably decent enough, I suppose, hard on the brakes now into the final chicane, final couple of corners, and we'll see if Parsec can improve his lap. In fact, he won't, because he'll go for a spin. That was weird, wasn't it? The car just suddenly snapped on him there.
It was like watching the Mercedes in pre-season testing that, and round it goes, and Parsa, who was maybe going to dip into a 44.2, has failed to do so, and his target, the target of a 44.3 remains there to be aimed at. Dom Smith for an outlap, Poop Cannon in the pits, who else?
I thought he was, I say, well, he could have gave his teammate a toe there, but then Cena nearly lost it. So Cena got a toe from his teammate and then nearly spun at turn 1.
Jacko's in a good lap. He's found 2000s on his first sector, but now he's got a toe from Dom Smith down the Hanger Straight. So Jacko now with a potential chance to move up towards pole position. Let's see what he can do. A little bit wide of the apex through the first. He's ruined it. He's flung it away.
What is that?
That was awful. And he's flung away a great chance of moving up to at least the front row, and it's gone. What a chance.
Yeah, he was way off into going to Donington there, wasn't he? I think at that stage he went off wide there. We will try again though, although he was a 10th down in the first sector, as Dom is going slow across the line here, so he's obviously not pushing on this first lap.
Tom Penguin finding 8,000 through the first sector. We're talking about very small amounts here, but you know, it matters. Second sector, what's he got? He just returned, of course, from disconnecting from the session or amending Dom's contract, one of the two. Now he makes his way through Stoll. A little bit out of shape, but just about holds on. So let's see if Tom Penguin can move up the order. Just a tenth of a second will get him up ahead of Blown Wheel Nut. Let's see if he can find that. A little bit out of shape, but he's coming around the final corner now. What's it going to be for Tom Penguin? Stays where he is, 44.8 from Sir Tom Penguin. Let's go together.
Bazza goes into second with a 44.3, a really good second and final sector for Bazza on that lap.
Yeah.
6 minutes to go.
You said, Dan, that this could be the quickest qualifying pole ever. It might be the closest qualifying session ever as well, between any number of drivers. We've got 5 within a tenth of a second roughly at the minute as Dom Smith starts a flying lap. Poop Cannon coming to the end of one. Let's keep an eye on him. He looked like he'd found a bit of time. It might be enough to move him up the order as well. Let's see, round the final corner comes Magic Poop Cannon. Is he going to be the first man in the 44.2? No, he joins the group in the 44.3s. Same lap time as Baza. Oh, this is getting close. But because he said it second, he's third.
And here comes Dom now down the Hanger Straight, and he's down a little bit now. He was up after the first sector fraction. Now he's down by very nearly a tenth, 3/4 of a tenth now as he makes his way round Stowe. And unless he gets a good, in fact, he's going to pit, he's going to abandon that, and he's going to go for the final run.
Yep, so this is incredible, but none of the top 4 are out there. So Blown Wheel Nut is. Let's see if he can join the group on the 44.3s as he starts a hot lap. Poor first sector. I mean, I'm saying poor. He's 400s down his previous best. But I mean, it's so hard to say, isn't it?
It is. It's brilliant. It's fantastic. Tom Meg was just invalidated. I think he was improving there as well. But
example too.
Middle sector. Yeah, blown wheel not 6/10 off. I don't think he's going to be improving on this lap.
So a little
Alex
lull in the
Afro
action.
pits.
A rare lull. So Mr. John then, he's out there. Let's see what he's got. A 10-1 for the first sector. That's awful. And no, this is not looking good at all for Mr. John. He's 17th at the minute. But we have now got 4 drivers within about half a tenth at the top of the standings, and that is what we love to see. It
is indeed. It was going to be on pole position. I wonder, is Parser going to get a second pole of the season? Let's see if Mr. John goes here if he improves. No, he doesn't. He lost. Well, he actually improved in the final sector, but wasn't enough. Parser is out and he's going straight on a lap, it looks like.
Tom Penguin final couple of corners. Let's see what he can do. Can he improve on that 44.6 he set earlier in the session? Round the final corner, up towards the line. What's it going to be? It's going to be an improvement, I think. No, at 46.2. My screens were lying to me. They were misleading me. So we'll stick to Parser then. Yeah,
that's happening for me as well. I think Tom Penguin's hands having a bit of problems at the moment. Parser's not pushing on this lap. Is given who's the lap behind him? Is that his teammate? It is his teammate. Is he giving his teammate a tow? Once again, the Red Bull guys are going for tows again. Although Cena's 2/10 down, so it's not worked the massive amount here.
It's not a track I'd associate with a tow, is it? I mean, come on. But okay, I mean, if it's every thousandth you need, which it is around here, then go for it. Why not? Cena final corner, currently 12, stays 12, no improvement, and it's not working for him. And that will now hand Parser the toe, I believe. So let's see what Parser does.
Yeah.
On his lap.
I mean, I suppose you might get like a full lap sort of kind of tow here. It might be a bit difficult though once you get into these corners here. Because usually at this point you turn left, here you go straight on as you get ready to rejoin the Grand Prix circuit now down the Hangar Straight, and this is where he can get the tow. Let's see what happens then in the middle sector. He's also 2/10 off as well, so he can't improve at this stage.
Yeah, the tow just isn't there, is it? I mean, it's just not a track to try. I can't believe they're going for it. But hey ho, God loves a trier. And it's not worked out so far. Jacko, by the way, finding time. And that looks really strong through the middle sector. That looked like a really tidy line. Let's see what he's like through that middle timing being. Oh, he's a tenth and a bit up. This is looking really good for Jacko. Is this the shock pole, or his second shock pole of the night? Let's see then, Jacko. Is he going to be threatening a 44.2 maybe? Or is he going to be the fifth man in the 44.3s? Let's see. He's a little bit wide again through the first part. Can he hold it together? Oh, not really. Round the final corner, he's going to throw it all away, I think. He has done so, and it's a 44.5. Oh, he'll be furious with himself.
Got to watch Dom here, Dom, and then Magic Poop Cannon, and then Bazza. They're all going to come through in a line here, and they're all going to be very close.
Dom Smith then, is it an improvement? No. Magic Poop Cannon? No. Bazza? 2/10 down.
He's 2/10 down. He had to go first sector as well, lost time.
There's got to be someone out there that's going to provide a shock. Surely someone can do that. Someone provide a shock.
Chris Johnson's invalidated at the minute. Chris Johnson in real danger of starting low down the field at the moment.
Alex Afro finding time for the second sector. Not much though. It won't be enough to put him up towards the front, I don't think. Let's see what his final sector's like. Alex Afro currently 11th quickest. The pole man in the last race. Second place in the last race. Round the final corner, that looked quite tidy. Up to the line, what's it going to be for Alex Afro? He stays 11th quickest. Wow.
Here comes Magic Poop Cannon, coming around the final couple of corners again. He was up in the middle sector. We'll see if this is an improvement. Oh, he nearly loses the car there on the corner exit, and he's off.
Still no improvement. Wow. Bazza. Oh, Bazza's finding time. This is time. He's finding time. Bazza for the line. No. This is astonishing.
It's unbelievable. Meanwhile, Parser's just sitting in the pit lane doing nothing.
Yeah, he's sitting there going, oh, I've had enough of this. I've burnt out all my tyres. Maybe that's what the problem is. Maybe they've all used all their compounds up.
It's a possibility, isn't it? Magic Poop Cannon is down again.
No, can't do it. Tom Penguin finding time. Tom Penguin is flying. He's absolutely flying. He's 3/10 up. He's 3/10 up. We've already had Alex Afro on pole tonight in one Renault. Is Sir Tom Penguin about to stick the other Renault on pole position in the second race of the night? This would be even bigger shock than the first one. Round the final corner. What a story this would be. Sir Tom Penguin, he's on pole. He's on pole. I do not believe it. Sir Tom Penguin, 44.2. Sticks it on pole.
Second.
Dom goes second. Can anyone deny a famous pole for Sir Tom Penguin? A second pole of the night for Renault, potentially. Maybe Jacko can. He's finding time for the second sector. It will need to be an almighty final to beat it. Dan, this is astonishing.
It's amazing. And Poop Cannon and Bazza are both off, and Chris Johnson's in the pit, so that's it for Chris Johnson as well. Let's see if Jacko can improve then.
It's all on Jacko. Can he deny Sir Tom Penguin a shock pole? It doesn't look like it. He can't. He can't. And Sir Tom Penguin has surely put the Renault on pole position. Can you believe it? It's 2 poles in one night for Renault.
Oh, that is so good, isn't it? That is fantastic. And he's going to, of course, start alongside his colleague as well on the front row.
That's incredible. It's absolutely astonishing. Well, Sir Tom Penguin puts it on pole, and we did say earlier in the session, I spoke to Tom about Azerbaijan. He said Tom put a bit of practice in, he fancied it round there, and it looks like he fancied this as well. Right from the off, he was quick, and boom, there you go. Puts the practice in, and bang, he sticks it on pole. The only man in the 44.2s. Wow.
That is brilliant. That is absolutely fantastic stuff. Just Mr. John on a lap. He is. Mr. John's on a lap, but then he crossed the line and he was way off. So yeah, Sir Tom Penguin first pole position there. What a night for the Renaults in qualifying. Of course, Alex Afro still had the good race then in the end, didn't he, as well? But Chris Johnson then, championship leader, starting 8th. Bazza and Matty Poupcan 4th and 5th. And of course, he set identical lap times, those two as well.
I cannot believe this. I cannot believe it. I mean, what's the bigger shock? Tom Penguin pole or Alex Afro pole? Surely Penguin pole, isn't it?
Probably Penguin, I suppose. Yeah.
Well, there it is then. Britton Short throws up a real surprise, and that's the whole point of this in TGP. That's why Dom flings them in and makes things interesting. We've got 5 drivers within a tenth of a second, but it's Sir Tom Penguin that beats them all. And I can tell you now, there will be some party on the North Pole and the South Pole tonight. It's Tom Penguin on pole, Dom Smith in 2nd, Parsa in 3rd, Bazza 4th, and Poupcan in 5th. They're all within a 10th. Jacko is 6th, Blown Wheelnut 7th, Chris Johnson, the championship leader, only 8th. Alex Afro was 9th, and Neil Jack is 10th. Mick Schumacher, Blair Grills, M-Shep, Cena, Indecisive, Mr. John, Angel versus Dev, Stereogram, Breezer, and Joe Sayer complete the grid. What an opportunity for Sir Tom Penguin. Can he win his first race tonight here? Can he do it?
Oh, it would be unbelievable, wouldn't it? It will be fantastic. Hopefully he gets a good start. But I'll say it again, Andy. I'd rather be here than Vietnam.
I'd rather be here than Spa. This is brilliant.
yeah, true.
You know,
it's what a grade for this race.
TGP flinging in F1 style gimmicks, and this one has paid off. It really has. It's a refresher, freshens things up, and it works. It absolutely works. And you know, I think there's a fair argument to say, or more than a fair argument to say, that the full wet in Abu Dhabi wasn't maybe something that worked out, but I think this looks very successful, and I can't wait for the race, Dan, because any one of about 10 drivers could win this.
It's going to be fantastic, and hopefully we won't need as many front wings as we did in the United States.
Yeah,
Let's see what happens.
Well, it'd be in their best interest not to be going through the pit lane, because they could get lapped by one pit stop. But here come the lights then for round number 8 of the championship. It's Tom Penguin on pole. The lights are out and we are racing here for lap 1 of 26 in round number 8. Britton Short and Tom Penguin leads into turn 1. We've got Dom Smith pulling alongside and sweeping through immediately into the lead of the race. So Dom Smith leads, Tom Penguin second. We'll get Parsa in third, and Parsa dives up the inside. Aggressive move there on Sir Tom Penguin, but he keeps it all together. It's absolute omni-shambles behind that, and off the track we've got 2 cars on the wall. That is Parsa and
Parsa and Bazza. He went straight into the wall. I don't know if he tried to take the actual corner, but it's a virtual safety car.
Virtual safety car deployed, and that might allow a chance for all the drivers to make their one and only pit stop now. Who'll do it? Dom Smith stays out.
I don't think that any of them will want to go full distance on 25 laps on mediums. No, maybe they will, as Jacko's coming in. Yeah, or hard tyres.
Well, let's see if Jacko goes for hard tyres then to the end of the race. Will anyone do it? Has he got damage? Has anyone got damage? I think everyone in the second half of the field does, because that was absolute omni-shambles down at turn 1. And then, of course, we saw Parsa and Bazza both lose it on their own on the exit of turn 1 and slid into the barrier at turn 2. Well, turn 2, 3 sort of thing. And yeah, it's all going wrong. So let's see what tyres going. That is hard tyres going on Jacko's car. Make no mistake, hard tyres. He's going to have to sit and wait, though, for some reason. And now he gets into the box. Now the hard tyres go on, and he will get away. Indecisive and Cena, interestingly, also going for that strategy. And Parsa is having to queue behind his teammate Cena. So the Red Bull drivers who've been involved. Go on.
Sorry, yeah, I think they had penalties, didn't they? So they had to wait in the pit lane and serve them. So Baza then at the very back, one of the championship contenders. Magic Buchanan third, Chris Johnson up to fourth.
Yeah, well, I can tell you now that everyone that's pitted, apart from Indecisive and Jacko, have been lapped. So Cena, Baza and Parsa have been lapped. As we suspected that might happen, they have been lapped already. So Dom Smith leads from Sir Tom Penguin in second. It's an F1 1-2. If not the team's 1-2, it's Alpha from the Renault of Sir Tom Penguin, who started this race on pole and has got his race up and running very well so far. Magic Buchanan is third. Chris Johnson's in a fine start up to fourth in amongst all the carnage, with Blown Wheel at fifth, and Alex Afro sixth, as Cena is getting lapped then by Alex Afro. What a disaster for him. Mick Schumacher having a fine race up in seventh on his return to the action, and he's on it under attack though from M. Shep into the braking zone. M. Shep up the inside of Mick Schumacher. They bang wheels. M. Shep goes round, and Mick Schumacher lives on in seventh.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't just Mick Schumacher. Well, it was M. Shep as well, who was also doing really well there, but sadly then has that spin and loses a few positions. In fact, in the end, he's only lost a couple of positions, in fact. So Dom leads then, and ahead of him is the lapped teammate of Indecisive. But that was such a strange incident to start, wasn't it? So I didn't see if Baza made contact with Parset, but they were both just straight in the wall, weren't they? It looked really strange.
Yeah, I think they both dropped it themselves. I genuinely think that's what happened. As Sayre Sports lines up a move on Angel versus Death, the man who strangely likes the intermediates in the dry conditions. Not today though, but Sayre Sports is through and up into 11th place. Easy move on Angel versus Death there, who's coming straight back. Wow! Ho ho! Brilliant stuff there from Angel versus Death. Shut up, commentator. I thought the job was done. I'm absolutely wrong. And quite happy to be corrected by Angel versus Death. What a move that was to come back on the inside of Sayre Sports.
Lovely stuff there then, as Magic Buchanan got very close there to Sir Tom Penguin. Dom's trying to make his way through Jacko here, but Jacko is not making it easy for him. I don't know if Jacko will be given blue flags. I imagine he will be seeing blue flags on his screen as Sir Tom Penguin goes through now as well. Magic Buchanan's right there though, look. And Sir Tom Penguin just about held onto DRS through there, which is bad news if you call Magic Buchanan, of course.
Of course, yeah, it is. And he will get DRS again from Jacko, you would think. Sir Tom Penguin, they do ghost these cars, so I don't know if the drivers will just get out of the way or they'll just happily ghost out the way. I'm not too sure how it's going to work, but Magic Buchanan running in third, Sir Tom Penguin second, and he just goes straight through the Racing Point car. Oh, nearly lost the rear there, Sir Tom Penguin, just about collects it, but he nearly was heading for a scene in the barrier. But lap 6 out of 26, the laps are ticking by quickly. It's only a 45-second lap, and it's Dom Smith leading from Sir Tom Penguin. Yeah,
this is probably going to be, I mean, if you don't get any safety cars, it's probably be a race as quick as a Monza kind of race. It's such as the shortness of the lap. Angel versus Death and Sayre Sports is still battling there. Angel versus Death gets into 11th place then. And of course, at this stage, then you start to wonder what is going to happen with the pit stops and when are these cars going to come in towards the front and what will work best? Nobody really knows.
Yeah, it's going to be so confusing, isn't it? It's going to be so difficult to try and figure out with so many cars on different parts of the track and laps down potentially. But we'll do our best here in the commentary box for round number 8 of the championship, with Dom Smith leading by 1.1 seconds. And I can tell you now, a stat Dom told us before we went on air, it's 155 races since his last TGP2 victory, and it was 155 races between his last TGP victory before that. So Dom winning races in 155 race gaps at the minute, if he can win here.
Yeah, it would be kind of amazing, that, wouldn't it? It'd be a nice little weird stat to have on your board, yeah.
Well, I don't know if this is 156, but if it is, then that spoils it a bit, but okay.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I suppose that'd be 157 the next time then if he wins this one.
Yeah,
I'd say Silverstone Shores. Magic Buchanan, look at it. As a Carey who's taking through the first corner there, you've got Shepherd in the pit lane, and Magic Buchanan is getting so close to Tom Penguin, and it's Tom Penguin's out wide there now.
Oh, Buchanan getting closer to try and threaten Sir Tom Penguin. Not quite close enough.
Yeah, it's Sir Tom Penguin just about is doing enough each lap to stay within the DRS of Dom, which is allowing him to stay ahead of Magic Buchanan.
Yeah, it's an interesting dilemma as well, because see if you're someone that's like, I don't know, 6th, 7th, 8th at the minute, you don't really want to pit and then try and get an undercut on someone, but then you come out on the track and then you're immediately giving way to blue flags. It's like,
exactly,
it's almost as if you can't do the undercut, really, isn't it, the way it works out? You kind of just want to stay out there until there's a safety car, then make your stop, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, this could be a bit like Portuguese Grand Prix the other day. It might just be a case of these front brakes. Oh my God, sit on Penguin, what are you doing? Oh no!
Way too late on the brakes, into the back of Dom Smith. He's damaged the front wing, and that, just like Alex Zafro did, has ended in front wing damage and his race in tatters. But if you've seen what Alex Zafro did in the previous race, Tom, there might be a chance to recover a good result, but surely the victory is gone, and probably the podium as well, unless something dramatic happens. And Zafro and Blown Wheelnut now are having a little debate off the racetrack at Stowe. And wow, it looks like they've lived to fight for another day. But Sir Tom Penguin into the pits he comes, and he will be distraught with that error. Another chance of a victory and podium gone.
Yeah, just went straight on, didn't he? So Alex Zafro into 4th place then. Chris Johnson is now right in the battle for the win, you have to say. Magic Poop Cannon's closed right in on Dom as well.
Okay, so Poop Cannon then looking to make amends for that massive error he made at the end of the last race and try and cut that championship gap. He really needs to. And
penalty.
Penalty for Dom Smith. And that now means that Magic Poop Cannon is the net leader of this race. And he's gaining and gaining on Dom Smith. Will he go for the move? He wants to put some daylight between he and Chris Johnson, potentially a car as well. That would certainly help. But Dom Smith's coming in now, and as is Poop Cannon. So there we go, they're both coming in.
Chris Johnson continues then, so let's see if Chris Johnson has enough pace now. He's got 65% DRS, so if he can go for a real huge big push fastest lap on this lap, it could play into his hands beautifully, but he's got to make it work. Let's see what happens with these two in the pit lane and where they're going to filter out in terms of the rest of the field. You would imagine he will be certainly ahead of everybody else who has pitted. In comes Dom, in comes Magic Poop Cannon, Dom straight back out then, and we'll see what happens where Chris Johnson is on the track as well.
Yep, so here they come back out onto the racetrack. They're dropping down the order, 10th, 11th place now. And we just try and wait to figure out what's going on here. It's just all over the place, isn't it? The entire order. But Chris Johnson, is he coming in on this lap? Let's see. No, he goes again.
No.
Is he playing the safety car game? Perhaps, potentially.
He may well be doing so. Let's see then what Chris Johnson does on this lap. Is it being a good enough lap? He hasn't really used much overtake on this lap. If I were him, I would have gone for overtake on that lap as using to gain some time over the two guys who've just pitted. Alex Zafro comes in, Blown Wheelnut also right behind them. What a race Blown Wheelnut's having.
Yeah, he has a very good point, Dan. He's having a fine evening, hasn't he? He had a good evening as well in the last race in the USA, up towards the front when the safety car came in and on those fresh softs. But again, having a fine performance and looking like some strong points as they leave the pits, he and Alex Zafro, and we'll wait to see what the plan is for Chris Johnson on this lap then as he rounds the final corner. Is it a pit stop this time? No. Mick Schumacher now up to 2nd place.
And Cena has crashed. Cena's out.
That could be the safety car. Well, yeah, Mick Schumacher responds in case there is one and comes in now, which looked like it could be an inspired move. No sign of a safety car just yet, and I think there won't be one by the looks of it. But where has Cena binned it?
No, I think he might have retired himself. I think he might probably just a bit annoyed about how far behind he was. I've got the two Red Bulls right at the very back of the field. He went off, I think he spun and decided to just retire. Got another yellow flag out now. That's because the Red Bull's going very slow. So Mick Schumacher pits then and is going to lose positions, and we'll see Dom where he's going to surely go ahead of these guys. Magic Poop Cannon is just, well, now he sets the fastest lap straight after Dom. So this isn't really working for Chris Johnson, I don't think.
Yeah, well, we'll see how it goes for him. I mean, it doesn't work for it at the moment, but you know, there's every chance of a safety car. He's in now. Okay, so let's see Chris Johnson into the pits. He should be joined behind them, going by the mathematics. So let's see. Making his way down the pit lane now. Where is Dom Smith on the road? He's coming down towards Stowe Corner, and this you would think should be relatively easy, as Mr. John now takes the lead from Sayre Sports in 2nd as they play the long game for a VSC or a full safety car.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm surprised really. Magic Poop Cannon hasn't closed in on Dom around here. This medium stint is working really, really well for Dom. As here he comes then into the first corner. Chris Johnson's just coming onto the pit exit, and I'm pretty sure Dom is going to get back into the lead of this race as he does. And Magic Poop Cannon is back in 2nd as well. Yep,
Chris Johnson rejoins then in 3rd position, and Mick Schumacher is a net P4 here. Wow, what a fine performance on his return to the series. Well done, Marco. This is a great performance, replacing Red Bull Kim and putting a fine performance together here for the Haas team.
Well, he had a great qualifying in Japan last week, but sadly couldn't make it work in the end in the race. But what would be amazing, wouldn't it, if he was to get a top 5 here? Although look at that, he's totally burned his overtake. He's completely got rid of that, and Blown Wheelnut is right on him. The ground wheel goes wide there at Stowe.
Yeah, Blowing Wheel now, Alex Zaffro, both right there and ready to pounce on any error. Magic Poopcan has closed that gap back in, by the way. That's a big mistake from Mick Schumacher. He's very, very wide, and now the chance for Blowing Wheel Nut, and he doesn't blow the chance. The Wheel Nut breezes past, and as does Alex Zaffro, who now has a look at Blowing Wheel Nut into turn 1, but he won't be close enough there to make the move. But Mick Schumacher, a little bit out of shape, makes the error, and through go two cars.
Dom lost a load of time there, and Magic Poopcan is coming right on him now. Of course, Dom still has the penalty as well, don't forget. Oh, getting close into Stowe.
Very, very close between them, and it's getting very interesting now. Dom Smith chasing a first win in 156 races, I think. His previous win before that, 155 before that. So a lot of pressure building then for Dom Smith as he looks for another TGP2 victory. He's been starved of them. Magic Poopcan and Chris Johnson, they've won recently. They know what the taste of the champagne tastes like on the top step. Will Dom Smith get that opportunity today? He'll need to about a 3-second gap or hope that Poopcan gets a penalty.
Chris Johnson will be praying that these guys collide or battle enough so that he can catch up. There comes Magic Poopcan again, closing in with the DRS, but the corner arrives first of all for those guys, and Dom just about stays ahead.
Yeah, so Dom Smith holds on at the minute, 4/10 gap then between those two. Chris Johnson trying to reel them in, then Blowing Wheel Nut, then Alex Zaffro, Mick Schumacher, quite the scrap going on there over fourth position, with Blair Grills joining the fray now in 7th. Sir Tom Penguin, what a day it could have been for him. He's down in 8th now, having hit the back of Dom, could have been fighting for the victory. It's all gone wrong for him as Mick Schumacher lights up the rear and spins out of contention, and into the wall he goes, and he rejoins all the way down in the fringes of the top 10, but we need to go to the front, because here comes
Poopcan's chance.
Yeah, here he comes, he's gaining on Dom Smith. Dom Smith's got nothing to defend with, and Poopcan breezes past him, making amends for the mistake he made last time out, and he takes the lead away from Dom Smith. Goes a little bit wide. Dom Smith now close enough to potentially come back, but not close enough, and Poopcan retakes the lead.
Stereogram is out of the race, but it might be in his favour, Magic Poopcan's favour, to sort of just try and keep Dom within DRS here, so that he stays ahead of Chris Johnson, and Chris Johnson can't gain with the penalty, of course, because Magic Poopcan has a big chance now to close in on the gap that in the championship. That's, of course, he lost 10 points. He threw away 10 points in the previous race. He can pull 10 points back if the result stays like this.
He absolutely can, and limit the damage, or basically level out the damage he would have caused. But Dom Smith, he is really desperate for a first win in a long, long time, and here he comes now. He's gaining, he's going down the inside. Dom Smith trying to regain the lead on Magic Poopcan, who tries to hold it round the outside and does brilliantly, and retakes the place back again. The odds were against Poopcan there, but he made it work, and now Dom Smith trying to switch back into the final couple of corners. Poopcan still leads. We've got 8 laps to go here, and the front two are fighting like crazy. And all the while it's allowing Chris Johnson to home in on them, and now into turn 1, Dom Smith into Abbey, takes the lead away from Magic Poopcan. Brilliant stuff.
But Magic Poopcan is going to come back on as he into the fifth. Chris scored it, nearly did, but he'll be probably getting ready for the next DRS zone. Chris Johnson just closed in a 2.5 seconds in that lap. It's
like a go-kart race, isn't it? They're just dueling through nearly every single corner on this 44-second lap, and here comes Poopcan again. A dose of the overtake, and he breezes by again. Will Dom Smith try and hold the outside this time? No, he won't. Poopcan is now leading, but he's going to slingshot out of stall and then go down into the braking zone for Club. Round the outside goes Dom Smith. Magic Poopcan turns in that little bit later, makes Dom turn in later, and holds on to the lead of the race. This is brilliant stuff. And soon it'll be a 3-car fight, and here we go down the stop finish straight again. Dom deploys the overtake again, and into Abbey, retakes the lead again. Wow!
Unbelievable stuff. And I guess Magic Poopcan is going to stay within his behind him, get DRS and get down the straight. Chris Johnson's a second behind now. 6 laps to go.
He's reeling him in, and that was a little bit wide from Poopcan there, and that will let Dom off the hook on this particular lap. Wow.
Yeah, that's definitely helped. That has helped him a lot, hasn't it, there for Dom? But of course, Dom's still got to try and find 3 seconds. And if he keeps fighting like this, that 3 seconds is not going to happen. And if anything, he's going to finish 3rd place in this race.
He just hasn't got to find it, is he? There's no way he's finding 3 seconds here. But we'll see how things pan out as Poopcan maybe lines up a move down the start-finish straight again on Dom Smith. Is he going to use the overtake this time? No. He's not too keen on that overtake down the start-finish straight. He'll settle in behind and maybe go for the move again down the DRS straight.
It's a great battle for 4th and 5th and 6th between Blowing Wheel Nuts and Alex Zaffro and Blair Grills, but Alex Zaffro just nearly tries to go around the outside lone wheel up but couldn't make it stick. Those guys are going to be fighting right to the end. Mr. John is out of the race, it looks like, as he retired in the pit lane. And here comes Magic Buchanan again with DRS. This is going to be close, you know.
This is going to be very close. He's going to have to do a dive in the braking zone. He's going to go for it down the inside. Dom Smith leaves the room, and they're really close. Side by side they go, but Dom Smith will hold on for the minute. Buchanan looks left, looks right, and he will not be able to get the move done into Clubber Vale. And at the minute, Buchanan stays in second place, but now Chris Johnson, there's no doubt about it, he is now in this fight.
Just having a look at this battle again between 4th, 5th and 6th place. Alex Afro gets so close to Bone Wheelnut now for the past 2 laps. Bone Wheelnut was a bit wide there, but it's okay. Had a lap up and he made the corner still. Magic Buchanan closing in. Chris Johnson is under a second now.
He's there. It's a three-way fight. There's no doubt about it now. It's going to be a three-way fight to the finish between these guys. As here comes Magic Buchanan again, and this one should be easy. Here he comes, breezes past Dom Smith and resumes the lead. But you know what's coming from Dom? A move again down the start-finish straight, you would think.
Well, you would imagine so, as he got the tyres for it. We're both on the same set, of course, same lap that he pitted. Chris Johnson closing right in. Chris Johnson needs to get past Dom because he's got the penalty if he wants to have a go Magic Buchanan for the win.
He sure does, and he needs to think about making that move now, because right now, the advantage he got, Chris Johnson is about to be straight away wiped back out by Magic Buchanan. As Dom Smith's going to have a look here into turn 1 and 2, into turn 2 and 3 we go. Dom Smith regains the lead again from Magic Buchanan, but look out, here comes Chris Johnson to join the battle.
He's right there now, and this will be for the lead of the race, of course. There's no penalties applied with these two at the moment. Magic Buchanan has the DRS though, and he might go for Dom again. He
needs to box clever, Magic Buchanan. He doesn't need to worry about Dom, he needs to worry about his championship rival. Thinks about a move down the inside of Dom Smith. Chris Johnson watching on, very, very close between Dom and Magic Buchanan. And Dom holds on still, but Buchanan, you can see why he wants ahead of Dom, just to put that daylight, that car between he and his rival.
Yeah, this is such a nerve-wracking moment, Magic Buchanan, isn't it? I think Dom is lagging slightly as well, perhaps maybe putting him off a little bit, and is allowing Chris Johnson to stay right there. Is Magic Buchanan going to go for a move into this corner? Will he wait for the DRS? Dom's all over the place on my screen. Hopefully that doesn't cause disconnection.
Oh, it's so close then between these three, fighting for the victory here in this Britain short, the first Britain short race we've ever had in TGP, and it's served up a cracker in qualifying and in the race. Dom Smith versus Magic Buchanan versus Chris Johnson. Buchanan again gets close, but not close enough. And I suppose, if you're clever, you just sit there and collect the DRS every lap that goes by, and it makes it hard for Chris Johnson to attack.
Perhaps it does, yeah, and just having a look here, we've got 20% DRS for Dom, 20 for Magic Buchanan. Chris is in the 40s, so there's 2 laps to go. Is this where Chris Johnson starts to make his move now?
Let's see, as they make their way through turns 1 and 2 again, Chris Johnson just shadowing them, waiting for any error, anything to pounce. By the way, Jacko has done 21 laps on that hard compound tyre, as has Baza, having pitted very early on for that. But Magic Buchanan, with the DRS open and the overtaking use on the penultimate lap, is gaining again on Dom Smith. He's using the battery. Does he need to do this? It doesn't really. And Chris has got more battery available to him, and that makes Magic Buchanan vulnerable.
Chris Johnson is going to have a huge amount of battery for the final run down the Hanger Straight on this last lap. I wonder if Chris Johnson is going to try and go for it into Stowe. And of course, if he was a crazy incident, Magic Buchanan's got a penalty. I didn't see that. Has that just happened? Chris Johnson's going to win this race.
Oh my goodness, Magic Buchanan, he's let it go again. And that is a shocker for him. And Chris Johnson is, as a result, going to collect the victory here. Astonishing. Chris Johnson will be aware of that. He'll see it on his timing graphic. And he's just going to breeze this through the final few corners and collect the victory. On the road though, can Buchanan now get ahead of Dom? It's important he does, because as if he doesn't, he's going to be third in this race. This is now for position.
Shame. It is for position. Chris Johnson's going to win. Who's going to be second?
Let's see, round the final couple of corners, Dom Smith looks like he's going to hold on to that second place. As they come round the final corner, he'll win on the racetrack, but it will not be another win after 156 races. Dom Smith crosses the line in first, but the win goes to Chris Johnson. He's not got a penalty. Dom Smith, as a result, is second, and Magic Buchanan is third. It's a great result again for Blair Grylls. He's going to come home fourth with Blow and Wheelnut, a brilliant fifth. We'll see how it shakes up with the penalties. Will Sue get ahead or not from the penalties? Let's see. Nope. So it's a good result for Blow and Wheelnut. Alex Zaffro stays seventh. No, drops to 10th.
The penalty. I think he had the pit stop. Looks like he went speeding through the pit lane. He's 10th place at the moment. Jaguar finishes 9th in the end then after that.
24 laps on the hard tyre as well, by the way. Astonishing stuff. But there it is then. The race comes to a conclusion, and it is a victory for Chris Johnson. It's 2 in the one night for him, and he's just kept his nose clean, kept it consistent, not picked up any time penalties over the course of the 2 races, and that's why he has yet another victory. That's his 5th win, I believe, now in 8 races this season. That's impressive stuff.
It's going to extend his champions lead big time, isn't it? Championship lead big time at this stage. And Majid Pupkan and Baza, who was 12th in that race, had a disastrous race, has got a lot of work to do. The battle for the lead. Sadly, though, we didn't have a safety car, which I think would have helped things a bit more in a chaotic sense. But still, a good 3-way fight for the lead in that.
Yeah, absolutely. There's the final results then from the British Grand Prix Britain short. Chris Johnson then winning, making it 2 wins from 2, 50 points in the bag. He'll be happy. Dom Smith then a solid result in second, but what might have been without that penalty. Could have been a first win in an awfully long time. Magic Buchanan comes home third. He'll be disappointed with that. Blair Grills in fourth. Blue and Wheelnut rounds off the afternoon in fifth. Great result for him. Neil Jack in sixth with Sears Sports seventh. Mick Schumacher solid points for Haas in eighth. Jacko 9th and Alex Zaffro in 10th. Angel versus Death was 11th, Baza was 12th, M. Shep in 13th with Parsa 14th. Sir Tom Penguin, dearie me, started from pole. It was the fairy tale that went and turned into a nightmare. He was 15th, Indecisive 16th, Breezer 17th, Mr. John 18th, did not finish. Stereogram and Cena also failed to see the flag. But that is the British Grand Prix and round 8 complete, Dan. Driver of the day from that one.
It's got to be Chris Johnson, hasn't it? I mean, he starts in 8th. He wasn't way off in qualifying, but he was certainly off in qualifying, and I was not expecting him to fight for the win in this race, but he did, and it is a huge win for the championship for him.
Yep, big win for him. Big special mention to Joe Sayer, came from the back, 20th to 7th. Good result that from him. Blair Grills came from 12th to 4th, so a few other big movers in there as well. But you're absolutely right, Chris Johnson, it's hard to disagree with that. He is the
Mick Schumacher as well. Marco getting a nice 8th place as well.
Yeah, good effort from Marco too. Fair play to him in the Haas in 8th. But yeah, driver of the day, Chris Johnson. Driver of the evening, Chris Johnson. 50 points maximum from that race. Fair play to him. Driver of qualifying or team of qualifying, Renault?
I think so, yeah, overall tonight. Yeah, I think you probably have to say Renault, wouldn't you? Both the Red Bulls took pole last week, and this week both of the Renaults. That was incredible stuff, wasn't it? What a result for those guys in qualifying.
Yeah, well, I think it turns out Dom Smith didn't get a pay rise. I think all the money went on getting a party mode for qualifying.
Yeah.
Goodness me, because they had some searing pace, but unfortunately, party mode and pole positions in qualifying do not pay in TGP Sports. They don't get you points, and in the end, it resulted in no victory for either of them. But, you know, Alex Zaffro did have a good second place in the first race. But yeah, I think that rounds it all off, Dan. 2 wins then for Chris Johnson. He extends his championship lead. He's in complete control at the top of the standings. 5 wins in 8 races. Things are looking pretty strong for the Crew Alexandra fan. Don't know why I mentioned that, but there you go. Anyway, that rounds it off from myself, Ginger Andy, and Dan the Man F1 for another fine evening of TGP2 action on this Wednesday night. Be sure to join us again next week. Exact same story, Wednesday night, same time, same place on the TGP channel for plenty more drama. Can anyone stop Chris Johnson? You'll have to tune in and find out. That's all. Good night.